I'm the president of the MacroSystem Digital Video AG, and I'm actually having two sessions, one today and one tomorrow night. And we're splitting this up a little bit. Today in this session, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Smart 85. That's a new OS for the Casablanca system that we have released in Germany and in Europe already. And in NTSC land, we're currently in beta testing. It's almost complete, but we need some more input from our beta testers. We expect that will be released in a few weeks from now. But nevertheless, we are able to show you what it can do, and actually, it's nice that they gave me this sheet where the features are listed. I've been working with these features for so long that I don't know what version brought in the features. Okay?
I've always been curious. Why does it take so much longer after it's released in Germany and Europe for us to get it? What's the delay? What is it doing?
American customers are more sensitive towards what's baby. So what happens is that we finish it of course, in Europe first. And in Europe, we have a lot of beta testers that are doing that because much of our customers is different. In Europe, most of our customers are high-end hobbyists. They never work on a deadline, have no problem if they need to wait for a new version. They don't even have a problem when the project is lost that they have to start over again. So, and the other thing is that,
can you hear me?
We don't have a lot of NTSC equipment in Germany, so we first have to finish it based on very few cameras and stuff that we have. You know, NTSC cameras don't really work right in Europe because of the lighting. Okay, you think that's better? Okay. Oh, that's for the camera. Okay, then I warn you that I have a very explosive pronunciation. This means that usually I... all right, so the reason really is that we start beta testing after a release. Actually, there is some alpha testing in-house in Colorado always with newer versions. But it's just that in Germany we develop things and we have the paired system, of course. And so usually we finish the paired system first. And the Americans like to wait for the customer feedback in Germany. So usually some more bugs will come out. Because it's a difference, even if we have 30, 35 beta testers, if we release this to over 6,000 users in Germany immediately, those are the guys that have signed up for the automatic update service, we do get some more feedback. You know, cameras that behave different than the cameras that we have, and the editors that just edit in a different way that our beta testers didn't do. So that's why Americans like to bring out the software when it's more stable than that. And it worked that way for many years. So there is a delay, but I don't think it's a serious delay. We're talking a few weeks. All right.
Approximately what % of your market is the U.S.?
Well, that is a good question because of the different structure of the market. We have more users in Europe, but the users in the U.S. tend to be more high-end. So products like the Claro and Avio are much more widespread in Germany and in Europe. And in the U.S. we sell fewer units but at a higher price. So typically the US is our largest export market, but the domestic German market is slightly larger than the US market. And of course currently the very strong euro and the very weak dollar doesn't help much. So, but that's unfortunate. But I mean, we've seen other days where it was the opposite. So I think that's the problem of export and import business. Right, more questions before I start? All right. So the biggest feature of the Smart Edit 5, of course, is HDV support. That we're now able to do editing on HDV material, which is more than 4 times the resolution of NTSC material. It's actually about 5 times the resolution of NTSC. The new HDV cameras that are out there are already pretty good. That doesn't mean that you have to throw away your DV cameras. They will work. The only thing that I would encourage every one of you to do is, should you need a new camera, do not buy a DV camera anymore. Buy an HDV camera, because the HDV cameras are great DV cameras as well. They got no disadvantage towards them. They are no longer very expensive. Sony has, I think, models in the $1,500 range now. They are clearly the future. Even if currently no one really asks for HDV as a project, as a production, because there is no HD, DVD, and Blu-ray player yet. In a few years that will change, and people will come and want their old video in high definition. So I really recommend, should you buy a new camera, don't buy a DV camera, go for high definition. Now, of course, we've sold so many units out into the market that we thought we need to make it possible to, even with the oldest and most inexpensive Casablanca 2 series, we need to be able to edit HDV. That brought us to a few changes in the original plan, where we originally did not plan for the weaker machines to be able to edit. Now, applying effects and rendering a final MPEG-2 high-definition video takes a lot of rendering time. So we thought that we need to make it, to reduce waiting time while editing as good as possible, as good as we could. Now, what we've done is, first of all, the big change is that in project settings, you can define now what kind of format you want to have. You have the already known progressive and anamorphic 4:3, 16:9 formats, which is all standard NTSC. But then you can switch the project to HDV. Now it's HDV, and now it's waiting for input from the firewire from HDV. You see, and you see here that's the next difference is you can HDV record and DV record, while in this mode DV recording is disabled. That can be changed here. While I can say how I'm going to record HDV. You can go HDV only or HDV and DV. If you go HDV only, you only should do that in the Solitaire or in the Renome or in the Plus versions of these products, because here we are recording the HDV and then in software generate a DV version out of that. The faster machines can do that faster than real time, so you save a lot of time if you use this mode. If you have a slower machine though, that slower machine would take forever to convert HDV into DV. Now what we do is if you select this, then the system asks you to record first the HDV material and then the DV material, or the other way around. It's really up to you. And it will take this information, because it's the same raw material, it takes this information based on the same time code. You always run two projects in one. So you edit everything just as normal as in DV, in full quality DV. This means that all the effects take exactly as long. You don't have any kind of difference about waiting times. Only once you're finished with your project. And when you're finished with the project, then you can decide if you want to output this whole thing to DV, or I have no material on this yet, but you can switch it between DV and HDV. If you output it in DV, then there's no additional waiting time. If you output it in HDV, then you have to create it first, and then you have to go through a serious waiting time. How serious? Well, that depends on your Casablanca model that you're having. The fast new machines can do that with a waiting time of about 1 to 3. This means you take 3 hours for a 1 hour project. An RVU can probably render the whole weekend on a longer project. Well, yeah.
I think Project 1 does have a tiny bit of HDV footage.
Oh, does it? Well, but we don't have an HDV recorder to it, but so I can show you how that works. Project 1 is that?
Yes.
Oh yeah, HDV test, yeah. So if you finish it, what you can see, you can record it to HDV or DV. If you go DV, then it's just normal. You know that everything's been created and you can go and play it. Of course, I have no monitor connected to it, so. But if you go HDV, then you can create it, and then it's rendering the interframes, and now it's putting together it's actually some disturbance from the rendering. You see, it's now putting together an HDV version. That's how long this takes to finalize this, test video. Your place is untidy, Chet. Okay, but you get the point. After it's finished with this, you can output it to an HDV, in HDV quality, in full HDV quality. Now, I would like to take my session tomorrow to show you how this works, because we had a serious transportation damage, and I just only now have gotten these machines back to functionality. Actually, this transportation damage was so severe that the power supply the metal piece of the power supply was ripped apart, and the power supply was flying around in the unit and actually damaged it beyond repair, I believe. So thanks UPS for that. So tomorrow or in between sessions I can show you some of the video. Right now I haven't rigged it up to the projector, so we would have to live with a very small display here, which I don't want to do. But the beauty of this is that in other systems you create useless proxy video files that you actually throw away. They block your hard drive and they block them, so you throw it away afterwards. Here we're editing in true DV, which you right now need. Now, if you have a customer, should you be a professional videographer, if you have a customer right now, he's going to ask you for the DVD as an output in standard resolution, and he's also going to ask you for, and maybe going to ask you for a DV copy. If he doesn't ask you for one, then you need one for your archives. But the HDV version usually has time, a few years probably, until players are out there that are affordable and mature, and they of course have to be accepted by the market. So that's going to take some time. So you need to you have time to render the HDV. You can probably, after you have delivered the whole project to the customer, then you can go and render the HDV. Whenever you have time for that, you can do that. Now, of course, what we have thought about rendering power. And even though you can do HDV editing with an Avio and even with a Claro, you can really do that. It's just a long waiting time, and we thought it's time to modernize our hardware. So another thing that we wanted to talk to you about tomorrow is replacement units. And you see there are 2 units that look almost like a Prestige right here. But none of these units is really a Prestige. It looks like a Prestige because the front is compatible. And to the left you see a unit that's called the Renault May. The Renault May unit is from the inside completely different. It's about 10 times faster because this is a Renault May Plus than a Prestige. It's very fast. It's an ideal machine for HDV editing, of course. It's 70% faster than a Solitaire. Now this machine, it has all the inputs and outputs that a Prestige has, analog inputs, analog outputs, digital outputs, has everything. So there's no disadvantage. And you can even trade hard drives with a Prestige. So you can take your hard drives that you've bought for a Prestige unit and put them in there, and you can continue and finish your stuff on there. This unit is actually the first unit that renders many effects like the tiler faster than real time. So for a 10-second title, you probably need 7 or 8 seconds rendering time. It's very fast because this speed is much needed for the HDV. This unit also is a very fast PC because you can exchange this hard drive against the new hard drive in an own sled, and you can install like a Windows XP on it. And since this is like the fastest motherboard that you can get these days, PC motherboard, that will be a blazingly fast PC. So should you have the feeling that you also need to buy a new PC these days because your old PC is not having enough power anymore, then if you upgrade to Prestige, or if you just buy the Renault May Plus, then in this case you have a very fast unit. Next to it is a new machine. It's actually so new that we only updated our German website this morning. It's called the Gymnos. The Gymnos is actually, Gymnos is Greek and means naked. No, that doesn't mean that you can only use it for erotic movies, you know. No, it's naked because we thought, now, okay, many users do not need any analog inputs and outputs anymore. You know, they use DV and maybe HDV now and in the future. So we thought, why should these customers pay for all these extra inputs and outputs, which costs quite a bit of money? We thought that we need a unit that is very fast, blazingly fast, offers you all the performance, but is focused on digital inputs and outputs. So the Gymnos unit is basically a naked Renault May. And you can upgrade it to a Renault May by adding the cards. They'll give you the analog inputs and outputs, front and back. But so you can decide at a later point if you really need that or not. Now, since if you have a Prestige, the Prestige has analog inputs and outputs, you can record analog video while the hard drive is in the Prestige, and then move the drive into the Gymnos, and then go and finish the project there. Now, the Gymnos is as fast as the Solitaire, but we probably can offer it under $2,000 end user price, just because there's no bells and whistles. It is naked. It is a Gymnos. So the Gymnos device is ideal for those who really decide that it's time to leave the analog realm and go over to the digital. Now that, you know, everyone who has a DV camera also can convert analog video into digital if it's really needed. That's possible. But by just recording the stuff to a DV tape and going digital from the DV tape into the unit. But the beauty is that the unit is very inexpensive yet very, very powerful. You know, you cannot do 2-monitor editing. You edit everything just from the VGA monitor, like this one, and also the video would show up on this little monitor. But this is really an economy model as far as bells and whistles go, but it has a lot of horsepower. So I think if you're on a budget and you still need to edit HDV, that's a very interesting option. And should you feel that you should have bought a Renault May instead, then for the difference price and little extra money for the handling and the manual labor, you can upgrade it to a full Renault May. Okay, but now I'm coming back to the Smart Edit 5, which is running on all of these machines now. Now I've shown you a little bit about the HDV, and tomorrow I'm going to show you more about that on these new machines. But there are also lots of features in the Smart Edit 5 that you can use for standard video, for standard definition video. And many of these features are going back to audio, and some of them are also. Is there a problem with this?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. I said I have an explosive pronunciation. Maybe I wrecked it. Okay.
just monitor it for me.
Okay, well, first of all, what people always wanted is in smart rendering, a feature that we brought with Smart Edit 4. What happened is that the smart rendering had in the direction, many people haven't been happy with it because our developers thought that the ideal way to do smart rendering is to render the last effect first, because that's the one you're working on that you probably want to see rendered. Now that's actually something that editors usually want to do different. And when I noticed that, I said, that's not right, that's the wrong way. But they said it's too late to change it for Smart Edit 4, so we put it on the list for Smart Edit 5. And you see, you can just decide which one is to be rendered first and last. Now if you say the last insert is to be rendered first, this is the way how Smart Edit 4 did it. But if you render the last insert last, this means that it's not going to interrupt rendering on the older effects. So the scenario, we have done a slow motion effect that's going to take very long to render, and it's 90% finished, and you add another effect to it, and then it's starting to render all over. That's over. You don't have that anymore. Okay, so this is switchable. That is it's a feature that many people wanted. Then a lot of people complained that after rendering, stuff would come up here in the end of this list in smart rendering. So, for example, if I just let me switch on the smart rendering here. So we do smart rendering and go render the last insert first, okay, and activate it, okay, and then we go and edit. And now if I add a special effect, let's say I add a what do we have here? Let's add a line art. Okay. Now what's happening is it's creating the effect. And now, because this is an HDV effect, it renders the same effect for the high definition part of the video. You see, the solitaire is doing that reasonably fast. Don't ever demonstrate it to a customer on an Avio. That's going to take much longer. Okay, so you see, it appeared here, and this is new because earlier before it appeared here, and we did that because we thought that a lot of people would otherwise not find the rendered effects. But we got so many people that said, I want it back just behind the scene that I've been working on, that we changed it back just due to customer request. Okay, what we also have is we can do a black border around projects in system settings. You can just do that. You can just go for the screen here. Where is that? Let me see. Oh, the cover border. That is something that people wanted to have for projectors. Some projectors really had gray borders then around it, and it didn't look nice. And now we offering this option so that if you use a projector, it just looks nicer. Okay, well then we have smaller changes like adding 16:9 aspect ratio to the pattern generator. So if you have switched to HDV, then even your DV footage is 16:9 now. You don't want to do that. Okay, now what is really interesting is some changes in the audio. And there's one thing that people always wanted, and that is to be able to create audio CDs with the unit. So now you can see that you can create an audio CD from this. And this is this symbol. So I can just say, these are my samples, and I can add them to my little list here. And once I'm finished, I can go OK. And the system is asking me to put in a CD, a recordable or rewritable in. And then I can go ahead and record all my audio or just the selected audio files to an audio CD. This allows you to, if you have like your favorite audio files and you really want to collect them so that should you bring it over to another hard drive or should you have to reinstall the system, you have your favorite audio files with it. That's working now. So that's something that people also wanted. Then there's one thing that I really love, and that's the thing that I would like to have Birdy presenting it. That is that when I've seen Birdy doing his presentations with how to edit video to the beat, I'm not sure how many of him have seen doing that, either in presentations or on his tips and tricks DVDs. I found that was rather tedious. That was like long time. It was time consuming. It involved lots of frame counting. Even though the outcome was really, really astounding and perfect, I thought we can do that faster than that. And that idea actually worked. And so we got it over. And I'd like to pass this now, pass the mic on to Birdy.
He's got one.
Oh, he's got one. Yeah.
Am I on there?
Okay.
Can everyone hear me? Does that work? Hi, everyone.
Hi, Bird.
Okay, there it is. All right.
Did you bring your goat video?
I did. Actually,
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, put this off for now.
For anyone who's done edit to the beat
wanna give this
prior
over to-
SmartEdit 5 here,
Oh, you do it. I don't.
you know you have to chop up the scenes first and then add video clips on top of it that are exactly the length of the beat. And if you don't understand what I'm talking about, I'm going to show you here in a second. But you had to go through the process of trimming those. Wow. Okay. In my country, that means we're married. Okay. I don't know what that meant. Okay. So you had to go through the process of trimming each scene to the exact distance of each clip that you had up in the storyboard. With SmartEdit 5, it's so much easier because it trims it all up for you. And mainly these machines are built so you do all of your video first and then at the end add your audio. Because if you add the audio and then put transitions, it shortens your storyboard and it shifts your audio around. So ideally, you want to do all of your video first and then add your audio. But there are certain situations like if you're doing a music video and you want to edit to the beat where you'll start with your audio. With SmartEdit 5, you'll do this by, first of all, going to the correct project. There it is. And you take your CD or your external device and load in the audio piece that you want to start with. I've already loaded in a sting piece or a minute worth of sting. And this is the audio piece that we want to create a music video out of. And if we play it, I hate that speaker. Okay, so that's the piece that we're going to create a video to or do an edit to the beat. So the first thing we want to do is we want to have something tangible to work with. We want to create this audio into some sort of video so we can actually work with black video is what it does. So normally without the SmartEdit 5, what you would do is you would go into Special and you would do a sample to scene option. Under Special you have the option sample to scene, audio sample to video scene, and it would put a black scene into your scene bin and you'd go through the process of chopping that up. With SmartEdit 5, it's much easier. All you have to do is highlight your audio piece, go into Split, and then when you hit play here, you just keep clicking Use on the beat. And this might take a little bit of practice in order to get close to the beat, but once you actually put video up there, you'll be surprised how forgiving video is as it clips as opposed to audio. So if you're not exactly right on the beat, and you're going to see that I'm not going to be exactly right on the beat, it's okay, because as the video passes in front of your eyes, again, it's much more forgiving. So I go into my Split window, I go into the play button, and I hit play, and I'm just going to click Use on the beat. Oh, one more thing here. Insert as scenes in storyboard. You'll need to put a check on that. That means when we chop it up, it's going to take all of our cuts and actually place them up into the storyboard for us. And play. Click. Click. I'm just going to stop right there, and I'm going to hit OK. I would have talked to you while I was doing it, but I'm not that talented. So, and then it's going to go through the process of creating the video. And something that you haven't seen yet on the Casablanca, if you go back to your edit window here, is we have new scenes, except they have music notes on them. Okay? And those music notes are just indicating to you that you can actually replace them with video, and it will trim your video exactly to the length of the scene that you have here. So what we have in the storyboard are all of these little scenes, and they are, wow, I did pretty good that time. You can see as far as the time is concerned, I got 1 second and 9 frames, 1 second and 11 frames. So I'm not exactly on the beat. But you're going to see once we put the video in. It's going to be very forgiving. But what I have is I have scenes that are the length of the beat. So I know exactly how long a video that needs to be put in there from beat to beat. So normally with Smart Edit 4 and lower, you would have to trim each one of these scenes to the exact length up there and then replace them or insert them. With Smart Edit 5, it's easy. Notice I have a 17-second piece down here, and I need to find a 1 second and 21 frame piece. I simply hit Replace.
No way.
And it trims down. Enthusiasm. Thank you. So it'll just trim it right down for you. It makes the process so much easier. You can hit Insert as well. I'll go to the next one.
What part of the clip is it put in?
The front.
The first one.
Yeah, it puts the front of the clip in. So I go to my next scene.
I can't think the part I want to put that part in.
Well, what you can do, if you want to go to that process, if you want that exact piece that you're looking for, yes, you just trim down below right to the beginning. Wow, that hurts. You hit me right in the heart with that one. Okay. Yeah, I'll hit Insert, go to the next one and find another scene, Insert. And instead of having to go through all of this tedious process of trimming each one of these to the exact scene, or the exact length, all I have to do is go from scene to scene, hit Insert.
It's going to be an interesting video.
Insert, yeah. And it's way too easy. I mean, honestly, okay, I didn't like that one, so I go to the next one because I doubled it up here. I can just go to the next one, and it'll trim the next one and swap it out. No big deal.
You just insert it over the other one?
Yeah, exactly.
Replace?
Or replace. Either one works. Insert or replace works. And find the next one. Find the next one. Some more video that makes absolutely no sense to the song.
Now, if you click over a scene that you already used, will it take the next portion of it?
I'm sorry, ask the question again?
Scenes down at the scene bit. If you go back to one that you've already used, will it take what's the next portion?
That's a great question. I haven't tried that. Let's go ahead and give it a shot. So I have one that's already here. I'm going to hit search to find it down below. And you're saying...
Use it up. Just use it up.
So you want that picture to stay on for an extra bar.
Okay. So we'll go to the next one, and we'll hit insert. Yeah. Are they the same? No.
Yeah, they're the same.
So my beat was a little bit off, so the second one was a little longer, but it compensated for that. So was that your question?
No, I was thinking if you use the first second half, could you use the next second half?
Oh, no, you'd have to trim the front here. Yeah, good question.
Birdy?
Yes?
Birdy, you could do this with Power Key pretty quick, too.
Well, if you use Power Key, there's this... What is this thing you call keyboard? For those of you who don't know, I'm a total idiot with the keyboard. So somebody notoriously razzes me about using a keyboard. I'm so used to the trackball, and I'm such an idiot on the keyboard, and I'm the worst speller ever. So I never use the keyboard for that. But it is possible that there's a Power Key keyboard or a shortcut to use it. But I'm not the guy to ask about that. You can ask Mike Gunderson about that. All right, so I'm going to go to the next one.
Mike has a DVD for sale.
Yes, he does. Insert. I'm going to do insert. Oh, I gotta put Sadie in. This is my dog. Sadie. All right, so I'll put Sadie in there. Yeah.
What if you did this for a slide presentation, and you wanted each slide to hit to the beat?
Yes.
You can do it as well?
Absolutely. Because the slide down here is just, I mean, it's just it's video. It's just, yeah,
So your
same
slide
sort of
could all
thing.
be like 5 seconds.
Sure.
And then you just use and it would just take 1 second or 1 second 10,
Yes.
1 second 9, or
Exactly, and just put him up there, and that'll take care of all that. Yeah.
He was first.
Okay. Sure, she. Hey, Candy.
If the slide is less time than what the beat time is, does it fill it up? Or
It doesn't fill it up. What you'll need to do is just make a longer still of it, and that'll take care of that problem. Good
Does
question.
Sprave have the capability of taking, let's say, 8 or 10 or 12 things and setting a time frame and making them all?
No, but PowerKey does.
Tomorrow morning at 9:30.
There you go. Yeah, you can do that with PowerKey, so you don't even need 5 to do that. You just get PowerKey software. Oh, you already have it. There you go.
I have PowerKey, and I'll have to admit to the whole group, I used it for the first time in 2 years because my mouse broke.
Forced into it. That's what it's going to take for me to use it. So yeah, I totally understand that.
That's pretty cool once I figured it out.
And insert. And I'm going to do a few more of these here. Insert, and insert, and insert, and one more. Find something I haven't used. Insert. And I'm not going to do the rest of it because that's the rest of the song that I didn't go through and click out. Did I? Oh, I did.
You just see black there.
I'm sorry, again, what was the question?
Yes, 27.4.1, you did an ad on it.
You did an ad on the 27.4. The next one.
play that.
Yeah, right there. You did an ad.
Ah.
Click play, see if you got your audio in the background.
Remove.
Okay. So because I hit add, it's going to stop at that point because I've extended it, and exactly PowerKey would have prevented that mistake from happening. So it's going to work right up into that point. It'll work right up until Sadie. Okay.
But you can't remove what you add.
If I let's see. If I remove it, yeah, no, it took out that section. Oh, yes, because I removed it and it split it apart. So now that it pulls it back together. So yes, remove, I believe, should work. We'll go ahead and take a look at it. So now, all I did was just insert those scenes really quickly. I mean, for actually creating a whole music video, this is an incredibly fast way to do this. So now that I've replaced all those, I'll just go back and play it, and we'll see what we have. And again, pay attention to all of my mistakes, knowing that I didn't really get it exactly on the beat, and you'll see how forgiving it is regardless. Yeah, worked great there. And then that's just the rest of the song. So that easy to create a music video. Yeah.
So you're doing really good at this. What happens if I want to have transitions between the clips and that's going to shorten for the beat on the time of the music? Now what do I do?
When you edit to the beat, the whole point of it is that the hard cut emphasizes the beat. But if you wanted to do transitions, which would go against the idea of editing to the beat, yes, it would create a problem because when you do a transition, it actually shortens your storyboard. What you could do is you could make a scene of this whole thing after you do the edit to the beat, and then split the section where you would want a transition, and you would have to compensate. You would have to add 2 more scenes or add 2 more scenes over it that actually had like 1 second on one side, 1 second on the other, and then put a 2-second transition in there, you're going to chop up your audio, or it's going to have a fade down on your audio, so you'll have to go back to your original audio at the end and lay it underneath in your audio mix window, but it should work absolutely fine. So it's a few more steps to do that, but yes, you can put a transition in there. But just think about it as far as somebody just mentioned here about, or maybe it was Candy, mentioned doing photo montages. Any time that you can do bring any sort of life to photo montages, and doing photo montages to the beat, this is a perfect thing. So anytime you're doing any sort of edit to the beat music video, this is a terrific way to crank something out very quickly and have a very professional looking product. Yeah, Carol?
In Quadcam, which generates automatically overlay inserts, we have a plus or minus 3-second trim capability. I've got those music beds that are put up there are not trimmable once you've done the each cut.
Oh, that's a great question. I have no. Well, if you trim the music beds up there, you're messing up your audio, which is the whole point of the music.
Well,
So.
I mean, but you missed the beat and you just wanted to stretch this one and shorten that one.
They're inserts, so they're not
Before you
messing
do
up
the
the audio.
inserts.
Oh, so you're not talking about? Are you talking about trimming the music notes?
Yeah.
You,
Like you can in Quadcam.
Actually, you know, if I'd like to jump in here, because what we have done is we have experimented a little with that. And I'm not sure how many of you have ever tried to add transitions to edit to the beat. It looks atrocious. It's really poor. You use all connection between the edit, the beat, and the stuff itself. So yes, we could have done it.
This is not for transition.
Okay.
I was screwed up and I missed the beat on that one, and I'd like to shorten it and bring this one over.
Yeah, but then again, it's so easy to restart the whole procedure today.
yeah, that's.
And of course, we're not saying you cannot continue to use the manual method that Birdy used all the time. That still works. It's still there. You don't have to use this. But really, believe me, if you experiment with that, if you add a fade, then maybe if it's 2 frames long, it looks still acceptable, not as good as it would be a hard cut. But there's really no point in editing transitions when editing to the beat. You lose the elegance of the video, and I cannot recommend it. So of course, if people will really require us to do it, then a coming smart edit version may have a feature like that. But from a standpoint of an editor, I cannot recommend doing that. I do not see any benefit in doing it, because no one is going to see that you're actually editing to the beat if there's a transition. The beat is something that's really hard to point. Okay, Don, you have a question?
Yeah, along those same lines, if you pay attention to your commercials and your television, they want those beats, they've got to be fast. They've got to be sharp cuts, because that's where it catches your attention.
Yes.
If it's a second, a half a second, you'll remember it. You won't remember if it starts fading. So you don't ever see any of them
That's
doing
correct.
transitions.
Yes.
What does that look like on the audio mix screen?
It should be all camera track audio. Yeah, it's all camera track audio.
And you see all the breaks where the song is cut out.
Exactly. How was your mint, by the way?
No, thank you.
Okay.
Is there going to be something for a musically challenged that can't keep a beat?
You know, I have all the faith in the world in you learning this. It's something, honestly, if you just practice it a little bit, I know you can do it. I know you can do it.
Neither can he, but he can do it.
Yeah. The problem with something like that is the piece that you're bringing in, your audio piece. Some people don't want it just to the beat. Some people want it to quarter notes. Some people want it. So it would be a pretty tough software piece to write that can really detect all of those little pieces that
You drag
you
a
want.
10-year-old off the street and say, push the button.
Exactly. Exactly.
Find your local high school kid who's in band or choir and have them come over, sit down there, and push the button for you.
It is a very learnable thing.
Yeah, and if you can find your first beat, when you look at the time length of it, as long as you repeat that, you should be okay.
If you have an equalizer, you just click it when it picks up at the top. If you can't find the
I'm
beat,
sorry?
you have no business working with music.
Yes, there it is.
The other thing is you have to remember is that not everything that you're going to use is going to have a is you're going to want to make a transition. You may keep, instead of him doing beat, you may do 2, 3, just because the wording of the song, you're going to extend that out a little bit longer. So instead of going 109, 109, 109.
That's correct.
You're going to go to 2 something because the way the music or that, I don't know the terminology, but sometimes in the music that it kind of goes through vocals to audio to music, then it comes back to vocals, and you want to cut right where that.
That's correct.
Starts. But that's not on the beat; it's on the half beat or.
Yes, or second bar, or yeah.
Playing, but I guarantee you just sit there and put a song in, and if you don't like it, you erase it, and you go back in, and you don't use that.
You really need to know the song that you're working with.
Absolutely, absolutely. You do really need to know the song, and I just really encourage you to just find a song that has such an obvious beat to it, and just practice it a couple times. I think you're really going to surprise yourself. It's a lot easier than.
Yeah, and close your eyes, and close your eyes, listen, and just have your finger on it. It'll be a lot easier if you're not visualizing. You're concentrating on the music.
Well, it actually reminded me, the whole process reminded me when I was going to dance school at about the age of 13. In my first session, I've been really rude to the girls. I mean, stomping on their feet all the time. But then eventually that eased up, and after a few weeks, I could do kind of okay. But I think it's the same thing. You have to get a feeling for the rhythm. It's not as complicated as dancing, but it is still something that you have to practice. If you don't practice it, you're not going to be good at that.
And I think really the most important thing out of all of this is visualizing Jorg at dance school.
No one ever said no to me, though.
Okay. What are we doing next there, Mr. Chet? Does anyone have any more questions about this right here?
I'll leave the beat to the professionals.
Okay, there we go.
Birdy, since,
Yeah.
What I was expecting you to show me, we've got the audio bars up at the top. And you can see when the beat of the music hits, the little pixel will go into the yellow area of the audio bar.
The little pixel will go into the yellow.
When you go to record, show the music playing.
Okay.
The bars there.
Yeah.
It's the beat. You see that pixel bounces over there. I was expecting the software to recognize where that volume hits that.
Well,
and automatically do that for us.
And that's what they were talking about. But that high point is based on the decibel level, and it's not always true that the beat is the highest decibel level of the song. So in fact, in this song right here, it is on maybe every other one. So there it is. And then the next one right there, it didn't go up all the way. So it would be great, and that would be yes, you're right. That would be a great way for a piece of software to detect the beat. Nice. There we go. Perfect.
Look at it in the envelope mode and see what. I mean, you see the beats in the envelope.
All right. So we click on the. Whoop.
Okay. I mean, that'd be one way to do a correlation if you thought there was on the beat.
Yeah, boy. But again, you're going to load a lot of audio in here, and you're going to see that many times the beat is not the highest decibel level point.
Are you guys ever going to take that little audio thing and turn it into like a real audio thing with 14, 12, 10, 8, 9, where it's a little bit more reliable than just and you're there?
I'm not the programmers. I have no idea.
I'm just asking you.
Yeah, no, I honestly have no idea. That would be more a question.
Well, what would really be cool is if you could get the beats per minute rate, and then just plug that in so that it automatically splits it to that beat per minute.
The problem with that is frames. There are so many frames per second, and that doesn't always match up with the music speed. So eventually, it's going to be off a little bit, and if it's a long piece, eventually all of it will be off a little bit. So it doesn't really work to find the exact distance between the two beats and then have it be accurate all the way through the song. It's closer if the music in the beginning was recorded and quantized, what they call quantized, which means that it's very accurate. But a lot of times music is recorded just acoustic music, and it doesn't have that consistent beat all the way through. It's off a little bit.
You also not forget that what the problem is that typical music has how many beats per minute? Many of them. So they're typically, and when you've seen Birdy doing this, he didn't do a position, a split position in every beat. He concentrated on a certain type of beat, like on the up or on the downside.
Right.
So, and this is a problem that computers right now cannot rule out.
Right.
We've experimented a lot with that. The problem is that if you pick the beat that you want, a human being is really the only one who can do that. Training the computer to understand how music sounds like, and making the computer being a superior operator than the human being, that's not for the next few years.
Yeah.
Finally, something we can't be replaced.
Yeah, hallelujah. Hi.
Add to that, you don't necessarily want the picture to change on every beat.
That's correct.
And here you use your own judgment. It's
Yes.
a human thing.
Yes.
And deciding you may want several beats to pass
Yes.
before you change the video.
There is something to being an editor. There is something to having your own style of editing. There is something to putting your own signature on it. And if the computer just does it for you, who needs the artist anymore? So
it's a great precursor for his next session.
there we go. All right.
I'm going to step in here, and ubiquitous Father Time is moving his signal towards our right. Just to kind of wrap up a couple things about this, there are two other little sidelights, too, that I like about Smart at 5. I got to play with it last week at NAB. And that's when you're in any particular project. For example, I'm in a project, and the project name is DB Test. Okay? The name of that project appears in your editor. So you're spending a lot of time there. Yeah, little things like that that make, those who spend a lot of time in front of the interface would appreciate that. And also in project settings, for each project you have renewed capacity, you can delete just the content of the
I'm going back up.
or the scene
Yeah.
or your audio sample for all three. So it gives you some opportunity to kind of customize how to work within that system. So nice new features. The natural time to just highlight the pricing of Smart at 5. As you mentioned, it is released in Europe and PAL, and we are in beta testing here in North America. Closing in on a release date, though I don't have a specific date this morning. For those of you who are owners of the Solitaire system, as we made the commitment when the Solitaire was released, that the Solitaire would be an HDV editing tool, the Solitaire will receive the HDV portion at no additional cost. So the HDV portion of Smart Edit 5 is available to all Solitaire owners. They will receive that directly from MacroSystem US. Solitaire owners who wish to purchase the additional features like the splitting music to the beat and the ability to export your audio samples via CD, and I hear from people all over the US, that's a big one for folks that do lots and lots of audio work. Solitaire owners will pay only $119 for the additional features, but those of you who are club members, only $95. Hard to believe you can get all that extra stuff for less than $100, I know.
Less than a tank of gas.
Less than a tank of gas. Now, briefly about it too, I think there's 2 or 3 folks in the room, and there's no pressure in terms of a group situation. I'll just see you one-on-one. Now, I know a couple of y'all have not joined our exclusive club yet. And this is a perfect opportunity to come into the fold. Now, again, no pressure, no hype, but I'm going to point out the specific benefits of joining the club. And one of them, for the get-go, is that 20% off all operating system purchases. Woohoo! So instead of paying $119, you're paying $95 for Smart Edit 5 if you're a Solitaire owner. Okay? You would have had a $15 discount getting in the registration fee. But I'm so kind-hearted, I'm feeling so good, this weather's good for my body and my soul, that I'm happy if I can encourage you to join the club today. I'll go ahead and take another $15 off, so I'll discount. Even post-fact, I'll discount your registration fee for this con. And there's half-off tips and tricks. We've got half-off video manuals you're going to learn about today. Some excellent stuff. If you're currently on Smart Edit 4 and you're a club member, it'll cost you $199 for the upgrade to Smart Edit 5 with all the features. Okay? Now, if you're, again, there's a couple people, it's $249. So there's, let's see, geez, that's a $50 savings right there. Okay? And if you're on an earlier version of Smart Edit, like you're on Smart Edit 3, we need to talk because we have a special still for people to move up to Smart Edit 4, and it's only $70 to upgrade to Smart Edit And that'll save you $200 right off the top. So I don't want to bore you all with the facts and figures, but it's good stuff. Good stuff, yeah. We're going to go ahead and take like a 7.5 minute break. When we come back, Birdy's session is on. Now, before that kicks off, I want to take note that in your folder, you do have this little blue order form, and it lists tips and tricks, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and it lists video manuals. Let me tell you briefly what that is, and why you might want to hold on.